Good morning, world, and welcome to Apocaflix Now, our main show on the Apocaflix YouTube channel. I am Jacob Bartley, your host today, and I am joined by the normal crew. We're missing Keith today, but we have Brian Avalosino right here. We have Gio Ramos, and of course we have Jake Berlin returning after his absence last week. How was your week, man?
It was good. It was busy. Crazy, hectic little week. Yeah, it was pretty wild. For
sure, man. Well, glad to have you back on the show. I do not love switching cameras and hosting, so that was I'm glad to have you back for sure. So we have a ton of stuff to talk about today. Some interesting things, the Benioff and Weiss Star Wars stuff, and a bunch of trailers to get to, a few sequel announcements that we know are coming. But before we get to that, let's jump into our segment where we talk about what we've been watching lately. Jake, I actually have been thinking about names for this segment, and I was thinking about screens and streams, or screenings and streamings, or something like that. So
you have time to think of stuff like that with homework. And all that?
It was on my way here in the car.
Oh, so you could made it turn around.
And speaking of that, all I've been watching is a history of modern European textbook, and a computer screen while I write my essay. That's all I've been watching.
You had a
lately.
busy school week.
But I did watch Arrow. I did watch the latest episode of Arrow. I haven't even watched any of the other CW stuff because I've been busy.
I watched that and Batwoman this week. So
I need to watch Batwoman because I'm actually really loving Batwoman lately.
So am I.
But Arrow, I liked Arrow episode 3 more than episode 2. But I didn't hate episode 2 like Brian. But I think Arrow's pretty solid. It's basically a reunion tour for all
every
of her.
episode. Yeah, it's really cool.
This one really got to me because it's with Thea.
Thea, man.
And all right, we know the season's ending, right? That was probably unless she's in the crossover.
She won't be in it. She's gone.
That was the last time we're ever going to see them together, which was kind of
Arrow and Speedy
tugging on the heartstrings a little bit there. So that's all I've watched lately. But has anybody seen a new release this week yet?
No.
I've seen a lot.
So you saw Dr. Sleep.
I saw Dr. Sleep on Wednesday.
Yet, right?
There was an early screening of it on Wednesday, and I was able to snag a ticket. I don't know if I can say anything because of review reasons. I don't know if they're out or not.
When does it come out?
Embargo and stuff like that. It comes out next week. So it comes out the 8th.
What about the social media embargo?
I don't know. I'd have to look at it, but I will say this. It's pretty incredible.
Nice.
It's pretty incredible. I will also say that
we don't get in trouble for you saying that.
It may be a tad too long. It's 2.5 hours.
Okay.
It's long.
For a horror movie? Wow.
Well,
wasn't The Shining pretty long?
I think The Shining was long, but it's a psychological horror movie, and
The Shining was 2 hours and 26 minutes.
really really dives into the psyche of a person and like what goes on with mental health and stuff like that. And Ewan McGregor is incredible. I love seeing him in these type of roles. Rebecca Ferguson steals the movie.
Wow. Really?
She is phenomenal.
That's one of his 47 ladies.
Well, no, the thing for me is she's been great in what we've seen her in before, but we've never seen her in anything like this.
So I'm saying
I was curious how she would do. Yeah.
No, she was absolutely incredible. And then I don't have the name of her off the top of my head, but the little girl in the movie, she plays a huge part in the movie.
She's a Shining too, right?
Yeah, but they show
that in the trailer. Yeah,
I don't want to spoil anything. I'm not going to spoil anything. But it's interesting how their characters are and how they explain everything, the mythology behind everything. It's a Shining sequel, but they open up like this brand new world, and it's really cool.
Okay, so
it's really cool.
Someone like me that hasn't seen The Shining, I need to see it before.
They explain everything.
I think you should, though.
You should.
I want
you
to.
should.
Yeah.
It opens up with a 10-minute segment of The Shining.
Interesting.
Yeah, wow. They recreated some stuff.
All right, so I'm
shots and
I'm already all in for this movie.
I will say this: it has the single-handled best cameo of the year. Wow. There is someone in this movie you're not expecting to see in this movie, and it is the pivotal part of the film. You have no idea, and it's incredible. I went with Max and Gabby, and as soon as that person popped up, Gabby went with me to see it. As soon as that person popped up, Max and I turned and we go, "What?" And we had no idea this person was in the movie.
Well, I'm getting even more excited now. So before Jake spoils anything, let's move on because I can't wait to see that movie. Yeah. I'm checking it out opening weekend. Brian, what have you been watching lately, man?
I haven't been watching much this week. I've been audiobooking through Star Wars.
I guess we can talk about that, right? Consuming entertainment.
Yeah. I've been listening to Spark of the Resistance. It's the junior novel before What is the second one? Resistance Reborn.
Yes.
That comes out in Tuesday.
It's only 4 hours long.
Okay.
But it's essentially like a follow up to The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Interesting. So is this the one that shows kind of what Leia and Poe and all them were doing?
No, that's Resistance Reborn.
That's on Tuesday.
Comes out this Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I gotta get that one.
And people were saying it's one
Do
one
I
of the
have to
biggest
listen
Star Wars
to
books.
this?
No.
This one to listen to this one? Okay.
I only have 40 minutes left of it, and I haven't.
Yeah.
But it's crazy hearing the characters at the movie still going on doing stuff, which is kind of cool. None of the books I've read so far are not going at the same time as a movie,
other than a certain point of view.
Yeah. So so it's kind of cool. It's almost like you're literally playing a little mini TV episode in your head.
That's cool.
So, it's like a prologue, or even an epilogue. It can be either way.
Yeah, depending on how you look at it, I guess. So yeah,
cool. Well, Gio, what Star Wars novels have you been audiobooking?
Let's just get into it. Gio. Let's just.
There's a show, a mini episode.
What have you been watching though?
I've been sending you guys online. The Ringer. They're doing a little Star Wars special leading up to the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they've been explaining some cool things. But I'm gonna start with Dolomite.
I watched it. I watched it. Yeah,
I haven't watched it yet. I want to.
Classic Eddie Murphy.
Welcome back.
Classic Eddie Murphy.
That's cool. I'm glad
the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Oh yeah,
glorious.
Yeah.
Okay,
glorious.
I'm gonna watch it now. I wasn't sure, but I'm gonna watch it now.
I had no idea about this dude.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Ray Moore.
Yeah.
I had no idea who
Same
he was.
here.
Incredible. The story is just and Eddie Murphy plays him perfectly. Wow. The cast around him is so fun.
And it's the type of comedy that you've been missing from Eddie Murphy.
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley, yeah,
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
I was loving that Instagram you sent us that they're filming next to Bad Boys 2.
Oh yeah, the Will Smith thing.
Yeah,
the video they did, which
Will
is really
Smith
cool.
One.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. What else? There's a Paul Rudd Netflix show called Living with Yourself.
Yes, I want to check that out.
It's kind of a, excuse my language, mindfuck, but it's so good. Paul Rudd is amazing in there. The episodes are not long either, 20, 25 minutes. So that's pretty good for a Netflix show. Other than that, Watchmen? Are we talking about Watchmen later?
No, this is where we're talking about.
So
we've been watching it.
I haven't seen episode 2 yet.
Okay.
But, so don't spoil anything.
Have you seen episode 1?
I've
seen episode 1.
I probably watch it
the cliffhanger to episode 1. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But just overall, the world that they built, I love it. I love Regina King in the lead role as a great cast. What's his name? The guy who plays Glass, the one with the mask on, who interrogates.
Tim Blake Nelson.
Yeah.
Tim Blake Nelson is awesome.
What's cool about his character is that he's essentially a counterpart to Rorschach. Mm-hmm. How Rorschach's mask with the ink blot, it tells you or it shows you what you want to see. Mm-hmm. His mask shows you what's going on in reality because it's literally like a reflection of what's really going on, whereas Rorschach is kind of what your mind is picturing. Right. And so that's kind of a cool way to do it. And what's interesting, and I don't know what episode it was in, but he wears it all the time. He never takes it off, which is really interesting.
He does every once in a while, but for the most part, he keeps it.
For the most part, it's only above his mouth, and he rarely ever takes it off fully.
I love
really
when he interrogates in the dome.
Oh
yeah.
I don't know much about Watchmen, the source material.
Neither do I.
So is this show...
It's a sequel to the graphic novel.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with the movie.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the source material.
Mm-hmm.
So, because this doesn't seem like Watchmen to me.
No.
It's
very
different. It takes place after.
It takes place 35
Watchmen.
years or something after Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's only a few left. Episode 2 teases one of the Watchmen.
Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan is on Mars.
Which they showed for
Obsidious, I think his name is. Ozymandias or something like that.
Ozymandias.
They think that's Jeremy Irons.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they're sprinkled, but they're not the classic Watchmen that we have from the movie.
It's it's like a what if sequel to the graphic novel, kind of, in a way.
No, it's a straight up sequel to the graphic novel.
It's a direct sequel. Like,
and Gio has the graphic novel. I got first dibs. I got first dibs.
Damn it! I was literally in the process of saying I want it.
But yeah, check it out on HBO. It's definitely worth a watch.
It is one of the best written shows.
But what I'm saying is they didn't actually write a sequel to The Watchmen. Like it's this. These creators are saying if we were to make a sequel to Watchmen, this is what it would be.
This is they worked with
graphic novel.
They worked with the writers of the graphic novel.
I love the costume of the guy that has the noose guy that comes in. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Face. He has that noose. I don't know his character name, but.
Man, did all that stuff happen in episode 2? Because I have not.
Yeah,
there's quite
a lot of it.
Yeah,
episode 2 is pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out today. Obviously, I really haven't had time.
My favorite show going on right now.
Well, it's a thought. It's a thought provoker. It really makes you. You have to pay attention to everything.
Yeah,
that happens.
Okay, now that I know the context of it, I'm more interested because I had no idea what was going on. I was like, "Is this?" Telling of Watchmen, does this happen in the graphic novel?
Episode 2 answers a lot more questions. Okay. There's a lot more questions, and it kind of leads you in a better direction.
Yeah.
I like the world building that they set up in episode 1 for sure.
There's also some very WTF moments in episode 2, though, still.
There's so much.
I'll probably go watch that after
we're
done
here right now.
Yeah.
And episode 3 comes out tomorrow, right?
It does come out tomorrow.
Nice.
Last night, by the time
I want to watch Jack Ryan, man.
Jake and I started.
We watched 3 episodes last night.
Yeah.
Oh,
John Krasinski. I saw a trailer for it yesterday, and he looks like an American James Bond. Like
he should be an action star. He should be an action star.
His way to it.
You know what they should put him in next? They should put him in Mission Impossible next, so he can take over that franchise.
Something like that. I mean, just seeing him in the trailers, I can see that.
He was in Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, which was really good.
Yes, he was. Yeah, the Michael Bay movie. Yeah.
And The King dropped
last week.
Mm-hmm. That's on my watch list, too.
Oh, I need to watch that.
Timothy Chalamet.
We talked about it.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, I got some catching up to do.
There's a lot
November
of stuff.
is...
you better watch it all right now because November every week there's something big that drops. You'll get behind really.
You got 2 weeks till Disney Plus.
I think I'm gonna go see Terminator: Dark Fate today.
That's what I'm gonna do too.
I'm
gonna see Terminator today, and then we're gonna go see Jojo Rabbit tomorrow. I'm locking it down.
And then we're gonna go see Midway.
It's at the tower, right?
It's at
what
the
time
tower.
are you guys watching it?
Tomorrow? Probably around midday.
Okay.
This is news to me, but I'm not.
I was gonna say it after the show, but I might as well say it.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad you can't dictate your own life, Brian.
No.
So, all right. So, moving on to our hot take, our biggest news story of the week, and it might be an unfortunate thing, it might be a good thing, depending on how you feel. But the Benioff and Weiss, if you don't know who they are the creators of the Game of Thrones TV show and the creative minds behind it. And they were set up to work on and create, write, develop, maybe direct, who knows, a Star Wars trilogy. And they are officially off of it now. Some of us saw this coming. There were hints leading towards it. But yes, Benioff and Weiss are off of the Star Wars trilogy. And them and Kathleen Kennedy have both released statements. So Benioff and Weiss, I don't know which one of them said this, but you know what's funny, when they're group directors, they always like leave a quote and they don't say who said it.
They're essentially the same person.
Like Lord and Miller and the Russo brothers, like a quote from the Russo brothers, like which one of you said that?
They're essentially one person. So
exactly, it's funny. But so this is what Benioff and Weiss had to say. We love Star Wars. When George Lucas built it, he built us too. Getting to talk about Star Wars with him and the current Star Wars team was the thrill of a lifetime, and we will always be indebted to the saga that changed everything. There are only so many hours in the day, and we felt we could not do justice to both Star Wars and our Netflix projects. We are regretfully stepping away. So that's what they had to say. Then Kathleen Kennedy had a small statement to say. She said, David Benioff and Dan Weiss are incredible storytellers. We hope to include them in the journey forward when they are able to step away from their busy schedule to focus on Star Wars. So both statements are just PR spins. Basically.
Kathleen Kennedy's statement is crap.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolute crap.
Both of them have a little bit of backhand, if you really listen. Because Benioff and Weiss to George Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
They
don't say anything good about the current Star Wars movies or anything like that.
They even say it, the saga. And it kind of, to me, when I hear that, I'm thinking they're talking about before what's happened. And then with hers is just that typical, like, backhand. when you have time. Like
so
that type.
We're gonna talk much more in depth on this in the next Padawan because it's Star Wars related.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy's statement is a big pile of burning crap, but there also is some truth to it because in reality, they signed a massive Netflix deal. A massive Netflix deal after they already signed with Lucasfilm. And so that obviously already, it does create issues because Netflix probably requires certain things at certain time points. I highly doubt Netflix is like, go do your Star Wars things for the next 4 years and then we'll do it afterwards. Like they gave them like a huge deal, like a 7-figure deal or something, and they're supposed to get all this content from him, and now you're going to go do Star Wars and wait 3, 4, 5 years down the road to do it.
It takes like 2 years to make a movie.
Exactly. So there is some truth to it, but this is also really, really bad for Lucasfilm because they're the 4th set of filmmakers in 5 years that have essentially had a bad issue with Star Wars. You know, you had the Josh Trank stuff with, and granted, that wasn't Lucasfilm's fault. There was issues with Josh Trank. There was. Gareth Edwards had a little bit of issues with Rogue One, and they had a director come on for reshoots. And then you had the Lord Miller stuff, and now you have the Benioff and Weiss stuff. Colin Trevorrow. So 5 sets of filmmakers. And so it's not a good thing for Lucasfilm. Am I like, I think I told Brian this when it first dropped.
I almost hate saying Lucasfilm. It's, to me, like, I almost want to say, like, Disney.
Well, it's Lucasfilm. They're their own studio.
I know. It's just.
Are you going to add Rian Johnson to that list now?
I don't know if he had an issue though. He didn't really have because they gave him creative freedom.
His new trilogy is.
So they gave him creative freedom.
That trilogy is gone.
So they gave Rian Johnson creative freedom to do whatever he wants, which is why I don't include him in that. The issue here is that it seems like Kathleen Kennedy is at the center of all of this, and there's been a lot of talk lately about if she's stepping away, if she's going to stay on. I think I may have told Brian this when it first dropped. It doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would that they're leaving. It really doesn't. Like, I think anybody can do what they're going to do. And if nobody does the story they're going to tell, I'm going to be really upset because it was going to tell the origins of the Jedi. Like, if nobody does that, I'm going to be really upset. If someone takes it over, I'm fine with it. Like, whatever. The biggest problem here is Kathleen Kennedy, though, because it seems like she doesn't really know what she's doing, as far as, like, delegating stuff. Because in 5 years, 5 different sets of filmmakers have left a film in a bad way. It's not a good thing to do, especially with a project like Star Wars.
We've never seen this with one franchise happen so often in such little time. This happens a lot with a bunch of different franchises, right? But it happens once in a while. This is crazy. It just keeps happening
with every Star Wars.
Like this, there's a few rare occasions you can point out, but after making 22 films, Marvel has maybe 1 or 2 little dramas with directors, and it wasn't even Kevin Feige. None of it was ever Kevin Feige's fault.
And it was all in the beginning. It was all during a rough patch. This is like well into everything.
Yeah, and the thing with this is it's like they agree to make a film, and then somewhere in the production process, they drop out for some reason, one reason or another.
I think you can't not blame Benioff and Weiss a little bit, though. Because they did sign this before the Netflix.
No, there's definitely some truth to that. 100%.
I think that they've known that they're not going to do the Star Wars movie for a long time.
Since like May.
So I think they knew before they signed the Netflix deal.
Probably.
In my opinion. Because I don't think you signed that deal knowing you're going to be working on Star Wars films. They might have... I just wonder how all the logistics work. Like, did they sign a contract with Lucasfilm? Is there like they got a bonus... signing bonus or something, and then now they don't get paid. I wonder how all that works.
We also want to know where the money.
Yeah,
well, we also don't know the details
of
how it happened. Like, did Lucasfilm buy out their contract, or did they ask to walk away from the contract? Like those are two different. It's
kind of crazy. Like, who knows what kind of work they've done already? Worked on Outlines or something like that. But they got paid for not working on the movie. But who knows? Maybe their treatments. If it is the origins of the Jedi, which I hope it is, that's what we want to see. We just want to see something heavily Force-related set in the past of Star Wars, whatever it is. If they take those treatments and adapt them, maybe, that's a possibility. And maybe
I don't think they'll let this go. I think they'll just grab another filmmaker down the road.
Maybe that's what Kevin Feige's producing. The thing is, if you look at it, it kind of all makes sense, right? Benioff and Weiss signed the Netflix deal. Because I don't think they want to cause drama. They don't want to announce all this stuff all at once. Then they announce Kevin Feige. is coming on to produce a Star Wars movie. Then they announced Benioff and Weiss are leaving. It might all be connected. And maybe Kevin Feige's coming in to help with this project, which I think he would do great with that.
You're awfully silent over there.
Well, I'm kind of trying to gather everything based off of what was said officially and what you guys are saying. And what it sounds like is Benioff and Weiss initially signed what wasn't a first look deal. Because if it's a first look deal...
At Netflix?
Yeah, with Netflix, right? But beforehand, they signed with Star Wars. Well, you mentioned Kathleen Kennedy is kind of the center of, this whole problem. And I think the reason why Kevin Feige was brought in was because a lack of vision of the next 10 years of Star Wars. She had no problem kicking this universe off with Episode 7 because the plan was to just get it started, right? And then maybe the films after would follow. But the type of filmmakers that you bring in, they're going to have their own vision and ways that they want to do these Star Wars movies. So I think what happened was Benioff and Weiss signed on to Star Wars because who wouldn't? Then maybe there's no clear picture because you have Rian Johnson's trilogy. You got Disney Plus. What comes after the Star Wars saga, Skywalker saga? Can they really afford to wait 5-6 years down the road? Meanwhile, Netflix, who just lost Star Wars Disney content and everything, says, "Come work with us."
I think Netflix is in a panic, and that's I just looked at they threw $250 million at just those two guys. Because think about Netflix for a while has been untouchable. You got Amazon Prime.
Oh, everyone's catching up.
Amazon Prime kind of gave you a couple gut punches, but nothing you couldn't handle. Hulu was just kind of TV, so it was just maybe like a knock on the chin. Look at how many things Netflix has to compete with now. Disney Plus, Amazon, HBO Max, Hulu.
Universal's doing something too.
The
problem is all these studios are pulling their things off of Netflix.
Well, see, I see that point, but I also see I think Netflix is fine because
they're gonna be fine.
They create enough original content, and they also have a lot of stuff. A lot of people don't realize that they also have all of the Mark Millar world in their back pocket waiting to make stuff. Nana Benioff and Weiss. They have
Scorsese coming out,
and then the woman who does the Grey's Anatomy show, she's doing all kinds of crap on Netflix. So they're plenty of fine. When I mentioned the Kathleen Kennedy stuff. The reason I say that she's probably the center of the problem is because if we look at The Force Awakens, right, and it's a great movie, we love it, it's one of the best Star Wars movies, it got us back into the fold, right?
$2 billion, yeah.
But it's a very straight to the point movie that is audience friendly, right? It kind of almost in a way lacks the creativity of the original Star Wars, right? It was a very safe movie.
Yeah, because you could say it pulled from
The Last Jedi, very creative, very different. Got a little backlash from fans.
A little.
As soon as that happened, Kathleen Kennedy goes, "No, Colin Trevorrow, we're not going to let you do that. We're bringing JJ back on. He's going to get us back to the safe and friendly one." And so I have a feeling that Kathleen Kennedy doesn't really understand, like, the best way to put it, the canon of Star Wars and the creativity and, like, everything else going on. She wants these safe projects that are audience friendly and that will get the job done. Because if you look at the TV stuff they're doing, she's involved, but she's also not involved. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are running that show. They are running that show. She can be on set and everything, but she has not a hand in like that, like she does the movies.
She needs to let the nerds do the work.
Well, she needs to delegate like a true manager would. And as a coach, an ex-coach, a sports aspect, if you're a good manager, you hire better coaches underneath you. She's not hiring better coaches underneath her because she wants to make all the decisions.
Yeah, and that's tough to hear because she's been involved for so long, like handpicked by George Lucas.
She's an incredible producer. Incredible producer. Like, the project she's produced over the years is incredible. Why not continue to do that and let the people who know it do their job?
Well, I think with the films, I don't think she was as hands-on with the films either. The problem is, we've talked about this a million times, they never had a plan. It was Abrams, Rian Johnson, it was going to be Trevorrow, and then that whole thing was just, it should have been a 3-movie plan from the beginning.
At least not even like one director, but at least the same writers. It was the same different writer every movie.
It doesn't have to be the same director at all. It could be 3 different directors. But it should, like we talked about, it should have been the same writers working on this whole thing. And they said, "Here, take The Force Awakens and make whatever sequel you want to make." That's ridiculous.
And then the anthology films and how, it started to feel like there was I don't want to say an oversaturation of Star Wars in the, market, but there kind of was, because these films were getting mixed reviews. Solo is a good movie, but it's mixed. Last Jedi, good movie, but it's mixed. So
I think there's a huge part of this is also Solo was successful compared to a lot of other movies, but as a Star Wars movie, it was unsuccessful. Didn't really make a lot of money.
Well, and the budget was like over $200 million.
And so I think that movie scared a lot of people. But the problem is with that is if you get scared by that movie, you're afraid of creativity.
Taking risks, yeah.
You're afraid of taking the risk when that's what Star Wars was. It's based on taking risk. Everybody thought these movies were going to fail. Every single person in the business thought Star Wars was going to fail. And it became the biggest juggernaut to ever hit Hollywood. And so, I don't know. I mean, I hope that at some point, if Kathleen Kennedy does stay on after The Rise of Skywalker, which I think that she may hit a massive home run and maybe just walk off into the sunset, I hope that they take the approach they have with the TV series, because the Mandalorian buzz right now is a la The Force Awakens when that was originally coming out. The people excited for this show, they are losing their mind getting ready for this show. And if you can get back to that with the movies, it's a good sight. So,
have you watched the second Mandalorian trailer?
Yeah.
Have you?
I've seen it.
Mm-hmm. So I still haven't watched it.
The funny thing is, if you remember that Disney release slate they put out earlier this year, the next Star Wars movie is set to release on December 16th, 2022.
They have plenty of time. They have plenty of time.
Which is
3 years.
3 years from now. So that's plenty of time. If they stick to that release date, which they totally don't have to, that could be that Kevin Feige movie. Because what else is in the, are they working on right now?
Well, I know that they...
Unless it's the Rian Johnson thing, but I
doubt
that.
So Benioff and Weiss, they had their 3 movies, right? They were going to do their trilogy, which was originally said to be a series, and then went to a trilogy, and then went to a movie. So this has kind of been happening for a while.
And then no plan.
It doesn't exist.
Then you had the Rian Johnson trilogy, which nobody really thought was ever going to happen. Nobody really remembers this, but a couple months back, there was an announcement that a writer jumped on a Knights of the Old Republic movie. Yeah, that wasn't the Benioff and Weiss movie.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That could very well be...
We haven't heard anything about that since.
So that could very well be happening too. And then you have the Feige movie. So they definitely have things that they can go for. There's 3 years until that happens. There's plenty of time. All of it's going to be announced at Star Wars Celebration next year, which we're going to be at, which is awesome.
And for me, yes, so excited about that. For me, if you think about this, something like Solo and maybe even The Last Jedi might be blessing in disguises, because, look, there was an Obi-Wan movie coming, and most likely they changed those plans because of Solo.
He came out and said it. Ewan McGregor said it was originally supposed to be a movie.
Yeah.
And then
we knew a movie was coming.
He said he's been lying for 4 years, and then they went to a TV series. That's what he said.
So I think because of Solo, they changed it to a TV series, and maybe, I would have loved a movie or a TV series, either one. But if we're really happy with the TV series, then maybe the Solo was a blessing in disguise, because now we're getting these characters in the TV form.
Yeah.
Maybe we get 6 hours with them instead of 2, and we can watch it in the comfort of our own home.
I feel like Mandalorian's going to change the game.
But that doesn't mean we're not going to get films anymore.
No. Star Wars is
Knights of the Old Republic-esque, I want on the big screen.
Star Wars movies will never go away. But The Mandalorian is going to show people that it can be told on the small screen. 100%. And in a really good way.
I forget the details, but Jake and I have an ongoing bet of whether they'll make... I forget what it was, but it was... We made it outside of the Century Theater, and it was something regarding that they'll make an episode 10 in the next 20 years, and I think it was a $50 bet.
They'll never make an episode 10.
Yeah. So that was our bet. We had... Yeah, absolutely. 100% they will. I don't care what they say. We've seen this so many times.
Gio,
with studios...
They forget.
No, I remember. I don't remember the details, but studios do this all the time. They say, "Oh, this is the last one. We're not making another one. We're not making another one," and they do.
This is gonna be the end.
No, it's not.
Was it the initial plan, a 12-film saga?
Initially.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that was what George
I'm
was
just saying for the record. Yeah.
So, before
Disney is in control. They can do whatever they want.
Before we move on, real quick, because we haven't really talked about it, does anybody think that this is also in large part because of what happened with Game of Thrones and Benioff and Weiss?
Not at all.
No. You don't think so?
Way.
I do.
I think part of it had to do with it.
All right.
Did you hear what their recent comments?
Are you saying that Disney took them off of it because of that, or they're stepping away because of it? Because that's
a mixture of
thing because
mixture of both.
They didn't do anything wrong.
So
why would Disney take them off of it?
We have. I'm going to try and say this as fast as I possibly can. But so they were at the Austin Film Festival or something, and they did like an honest Q&A essentially.
Yeah.
And they talked about how a large part of why they're leaving is because of the toxic fandom.
Yeah.
Of Star Wars, which also comes from a toxic fandom of Game of Thrones. But they also revealed that, and they stupidly said this, that they had no idea why HBO hired them to do the show, no idea why George R.R. Martin chose them to do the show, and that season was essentially they got hired to go to expensive film school. That's essentially what they said, that they had no idea what they were doing and they went into doing it. And so
and it became the biggest
show. But I also think that because of what happened with Game of Thrones and everything that kind of came out afterwards, I do think that they stepped back and said, so maybe these aren't the guys that do that.
I think that they stepped away because of the toxic fandom of Game of Thrones, which if they messed up Star Wars would have been escalated to something else. But I don't think like Disney said, "Oh, Game of Thrones season 8 wasn't that good. Let's pull them off."
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't think it was that at all.
I think you on the same page a little bit here.
Game of Thrones season 8 wasn't even that bad. It was disappointing. It wasn't bad. If you're referring to the season finale, the last episode, that's a different story. But the entire season wasn't bad.
It was just really, really rushed.
Yeah,
we gotta move on though.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, moving on to our buy or sell segments, we're going to talk about some movie news and some trailers. A couple things that dropped later on in the week that we didn't add into the official notes. A Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 is coming in 2022. That is awesome news to hear.
Dope.
Obviously, it was critically loved. Didn't make a ton of money, but it was profitable. So that's super exciting.
Won the Oscar.
Disney at the Oscars.
Won the Oscar.
And rightfully so. And then also, Peyton Reed is returning to direct an AntMan3, which also is presumably going to release in 2022. That warms my heart. I'm so happy to hear that.
So it'll probably end up being like the beginning of Phase 5. It's supposed to film either late next year or the beginning of 2021.
Because they easily could have said, Scott Lang's story's done.
Yeah.
They easily could have done that, and I'm so glad they're not doing that. But yeah, super excited for Spider-Verse 2.
This marks the third franchise that's being directed by one filmmaker, which is really cool.
Yeah, that excites me. See, a plan.
Yeah,
always
exactly.
A plan, always works. You guys excited about these?
I am. I'm curious though because Peyton Reed really wanted Fantastic Four.
There's going to be a Fantastic Four character in this movie. Calling it right now.
Does that mean
that would make sense?
Calling it right now.
You just see his.
Because of Hank Pym.
Yes, see exactly.
I'm calling it right now.
That makes so much sense.
He's going to be the one to introduce the Fantastic Four because he's the one who wanted to do the movie. Which he could do the movie still. He technically could do the movie.
What if he said that he let the Fantastic Four go into the quantum realm, and that's where they've been.
This is the backdoor introduction.
They talked about like doing a 1960s film where they were alive during that time and they went away. And
what if Hank Pym knew them?
I could totally see that.
He let them go in the quantum realm.
What if he was their test dummies? What if they worked for Pym Particles or what is it? Pymtech, right?
Dude, how old was... Or whatever. The DH Michael Douglas in a Fantastic Four film where part of it takes place in the past, that would be awesome.
It's happening.
I think that is going to set up heavily Young Avengers, so...
That's a theory for another day, so we'll save that. We can't spend too much time because we have other stuff to talk about, that's why.
I'm by all these.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing for me, part of me goes, what the hell? Spider-Verse is so far away. But then at the same time, I'm like, that means they're taking their time. And they're going to make it good.
Is Lord and Miller doing that?
2020 is right around
also
the corner,
remember that they also announced that they're going to do spin-off movies from that movie. They could very well do a Gwen Stacy movie in between.
Yeah.
So, Lord and Miller coming back?
They produced, I imagine.
Yeah.
But didn't they write it?
One of them did.
Oh, okay.
And it's technically connected to Venom and all that. It's all in the same.
Well, they
universe.
could do it.
I mean, they said at the end of Venom, it said like the post-credit scene was a Spider-Verse scene. It said in another universe, like
Lord and Miller have a giant deal with Sony for Spider-Man on TV. That's what they're taking care of. They're doing a Spider-Man universe on TV. So,
but they still kind of got this whole thing going. So it has their stamp all over it. All right, so our first official topic is something very exciting. So Green Lantern is getting a series on HBO Max. It's the upcoming HBO streaming service. I don't know what's different about it than like HBO Go or Now.
It's going to have
a big budget.
Everything in the HBO and Warner Brothers library. So it's with Warner Brothers, and so what people are thinking is
that's right. Yeah. That's
so
right.
the DC Universe app, that streaming service, they're gonna funnel everything into.
It's basically
HBO swallowing Warner Bros.
So like,
Warner Bros. Is HBO. Like
yes.
Whatever.
So like all of the CW Arrowverse, all of it's on Netflix. It's all going to transfer over
Warner
to
Bros.
HBO.
Disney Plus.
Yes,
basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yep.
Brian, you want to take the floor with this one because Green Lantern is your favorite comic book character?
He's my favorite DC character.
Okay.
I've loved Green Lantern forever. He was honestly, if I'm being completely honest, he was probably my first favorite comic book character over everyone.
That's cool.
If you watched Nerd Nation, you already saw how excited I was for it.
Did you buy or sell, Brian?
I buy every ounce of stock in this as I can. Don't do that.
No. I'm with you. I'm already thinking about what I'm saying, so I'm reacting to
because I feel like you're my biggest ally on this. Excuse me. I cannot wait for this because they could do the Green Lantern universe is
the Green Lantern Corps. Oh my god,
it's huge. Green Lantern is arguably one of the biggest universes in DC because it literally spans universes.
Yes,
and for it to be on a TV show and not limited to 3 hours of a movie is amazing. Brilliant, and exactly what I think he should get. Especially to get people to get that disgusting taste of the Ryan Reynolds.
It's a long time ago, man.
It is, but people were still. You can't lie that.
Well, that's probably the first thing that casual fans think about when they think of Green Lantern.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, look at Aquaman.
Get over it.
Yeah, I know. Aquaman. People made fun of Aquaman forever. The second Jason Momoa took over Aquaman's freaking dope. Yeah. Like everyone loves Aquaman's sick. That's what is going to happen with.
So this means that they're not doing a movie anytime soon.
No, they certainly are.
Are they?
No,
didn't they? Oh.
Which I'm fine with that. TV has become something different nowadays, so I'm totally fine with that. I'll just say real quick, I buy this for sure. Totally down because who knows if a movie would fail at the box office. I don't know how. I would hope not, but I think this is a safe move for Green Lantern, and I think we're going to see
safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Because making a movie is a risk for Green Lantern.
A little bit of
because it's going to have a high budget, and it's going to if it fails at the box office, people are going to sign up for HBO Max no matter what, and it's just going to help with subscriptions. But I think we're going to see Hal Jordan, like a veteran, an older Hal Jordan. But I want to see. I started reading this series Green Lanterns a few years ago, and it had a character named Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz, and I want to see them in the show.
So I buy this. There's
Gina Rodriguez should play.
There's two ways that I think that this show should go.
That.
I love.
In my opinion, I think that there's two ways that they should go. I mentioned Jessica Cruz on Nerd Nation. I thought that she'd be great to include in this. The other way. I changed my tune since we recorded Nerd Nation. I absolutely would love to see the focus on Abin Sur and then lead into Hal Jordan and how he got the ring and adventures of Abin Sur and then have him kind of pass the torch to a young Hal Jordan.
The thing with this, you could include all of it. Think of Game of Thrones, right? Mm-hmm. You have 30 characters you're focusing on. They could do something like that with Green Lantern.
I would love to see a first season focus on Abin Sur and then kind of towards the end we end up meeting Hal Jordan. And then he ends up becoming the Lantern, and in following seasons we meet like Jon Stewart and Jessica Cruz and all these characters that we know and love. But it's a total buy. It makes sense, and I'm looking forward to it. So
absolutely,
yeah. Initially, I sold this so hard because I was like,
really,
a Green Lantern show like wasn't Justin Rhodes and David what's his name? God, David Goyer.
It was Jeff Johns.
Yeah, for a movie.
Working on.
They probably adapted those scripts into a TV show, just like Obi-Wan.
Maybe.
So I freaked out at first because I was like, "Come on, what's going on with the DCU? Come on now, we're supposed to get these movies. Like, it's ridiculous."
Green Lantern was supposed to be what this year?
This year? No, 2020. 2020, but still next year. Like, so. But then I thought about the Disney Plus angle and how you could take some characters and put them on there first and then put them into the movies. Mm-hmm. Like, make no mistake, Green Lantern will be a part of the DCEU.
I think this show will be?
I think this show will be. Yes, and I only say that. I only say that. I only say that because it's going to have an HBO type budget. So
that's fine.
To Watchmen.
But HBO or Warner Brothers has never once shown interest in connecting TV and movies.
I think this is different because it's on HBO
and
Max. This is different than the CW.
I don't. Here's the big reason why: because you have to subscribe to HBO Max. I don't think they'll connect the two between movies.
What's the difference between Disney Plus and doing that with the TV shows?
I think HBO
because
is big enough.
Marvel's been going for 10 years already. That's a big difference.
So I agree with you. I think you can connect it to DCU, and because the thing is, you could have this on the DCU. Sorry to take this real quick.
Go ahead.
But then you can have that Green Lantern character, Hal Jordan, be in the movies, but not make a Green Lantern movie in the DCU.
I agree.
He would be in Justice League 2 or something like that.
Yes, only because this series show is going to have an HBO type budget,
movie-sized budget.
Similar to
it's not going to be a
It's gonna have
CW
a movie size,
show.
and then the character can appear in maybe a Wonder Woman movie. Who knows? But a future DC movie.
Let's make another bet. Let's make another bet. Let's make another bet.
Jake,
you all three think that this is going to turn into some kind of movie eventually, or a spin-off movie that's connected to this, right?
I think it'll be in the DCU.
I'll bet each of you $5 that it's not.
Okay, fine. I'll take that bet.
See?
Sure. Yeah, sure. $5. Why not?
Cool.
So, you reminded me of something. There's a podcast that I watched. They have like a betting board, and it's a fantasy football one. And every time they're in an argument, they make a bet and they say, put it on the board.
I'm down.
And we should do something like that because we're gonna lose track of these.
We can put it right there.
Podcast.
We can put it right there underneath the sign.
Yeah.
Or even on the sign.
Just whatever. It can be on the side.
Right?
Every time, after the show, you add it to the show, and then we got to stick to those bets.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Gio. Any last thoughts on this?
Well, no. I'm excited for all the reasons that you guys have stated. I love that they're going to give this show a budget, and that what Greg Berlanti is going to spearhead this project. I think it's going to turn out great. I think it's going to do good things for the Green Lantern character. And again, it's just wishful thinking for me because I don't know what the DCEU. Sadly, I'm convinced now that Henry Cavill won't be back as Superman.
Well, so I mentioned this on Our Nation, but it's a really good sign that Berlanti is doing this because he has teased Hal Jordan a dozen times in the Arrowverse.
The jacket,
the city, the Air Force, everything. He's teased Ferris.
There's also a possibility it's connected to the Arrowverse.
Yeah, he's teased it plenty of times before, and it can be connected to the Arrowverse because they already said that it's taking place in space, and so you don't even have to connect it to Earth, and so they wouldn't even have to mention it, and then eventually down the line they could bring them on.
Diggle.
So it's a good sign.
They hinted that. He's Green Lantern.
Well, he was in another Earth.
Other universe.
He was in another universe.
Put Greg Berlanti and Jeff Johns together and just make this.
I trust Greg Berlanti, so we'll
Strange
see.
Adventures too. We're not going to have time to talk about that, but
all right. Well, going back to a Game of Thrones topic, so apparently the White Walker prequel titled The Long Night has been canceled, the one that they were working on, and the Targaryen prequel House of the Dragons has been ordered to series. Now, The Long Night, was that the Naomi Watts one?
Yes.
Oh, that sucks because I was excited when they announced there was going to be a spinoff starring her. That's very unfortunate. Damn, so are we buying or selling each of these stories individually or separate?
Yeah, we can do it individually. I sell
the cancellation and
yes.
I buy the Targaryen.
I think we're all on that front. Yeah.
I don't know if I really.
After season 8, yeah,
I
need to cancel.
I don't know if I really want more White Walker story.
Well, we're not going to get it, right?
Well,
that's the one that's canceled. So,
I love it. Yeah,
I agree with you. I just wanted to see Naomi Watts star in a Game of Thrones show.
Well, she now can though.
Yeah. Put her as
and
a
she's
Targaryen.
blonde. She could very well be a Targaryen.
That's true. I'm cool with that as long as they keep her around.
So for me, I don't know if I sell.
You're nuts.
Nuts.
Taking place 3,000 years before the Game of Thrones series, dude. Hell yeah.
I want the Targaryen one.
Yeah, I
made that very clear.
Yeah.
I almost
because dragons.
That's what we're getting, though, right?
They chose. Put it this way.
There's two. They canceled the White Walker one and kept the Targaryen.
So this is what HBO did. They essentially did this. They put it on a board and said, okay, do we want to pick dragons or do we want to pick zombies? Let's go with dragons.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what that is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of like I'm not. I want further away right now than you could possibly be to the
like
original show.
timeline-wise?
The Long Night was the furthest away. The Targaryen one's only taking place 100 years before the original series.
Oh, I thought it was a lot.
That's what the Mad King, right?
Yeah, it's
But
only
I
taking place
agree.
100 years
The
before.
White Walkers storyline
White Walkers was thousands.
was
This
getting
one's
stale
100.
in the regular series.
Well, because we got burned by the fact that they only showed up for one flipping episode in season 8. That's why.
I just think, for me, I wouldn't mind, like, seeing them later. I just kind of, like, want to hit pause with the whole White Walker and give me, like, dragons, fire, blood.
Is that the title, House of the Dragons?
Yes.
Oh, that show's gonna be good, dude.
So this is the interesting part, and George R. Martin's he's involved in it, but he said that he's not going to write the show until he finishes his new book, and so we may not see it for a while.
How long is he going to be on his book? He's been working on it for like what?
I think it's the new one. Is Winds of Winter is the one he's writing. But I'm cool with waiting because if he writes the show, I'm all for it because he knows the characters.
Yeah, for sure. Any last thoughts, Gio?
I buy it. After season 8, just don't take a break from the White Walkers.
Well,
just forget
the
about
one
it.
thing we walked out of with Game of Thrones always is that we wanted to know more about the Targaryens. That's the one thing, right?
They were arguably the most popular.
And they weren't even. There was only 2 of them in the show,
Exactly.
you know, and so 1.5.
And
John was like half.
We'll see some of the other families that we're familiar with too.
Oh, the Starks. The Starks were around then. The Lannisters, I don't know how powerful they were then, but the Starks were 100% around then because it was.
I don't even think the Lannisters were really.
I don't know, but I know that the Starks and Targaryens were at war at once, and we're gonna see old school Westeros and like King's Landing, all that stuff, which is gonna be
You'll probably
badass.
see houses we've never seen that
Yeah.
get just
Oh, yeah.
taken out.
I kind of want
100%.
to have a
Young.
different feel than Game of Thrones a little bit.
See
I
a young
want
Tywin
to.
Lannister.
Well, if it's at 100 years, it's a little too
100
far.
years. He's not 100.
Well, no, I'm talking about like halfway through the series.
The series is gonna take place over 50 years.
No, the series is gonna end with the
It's gonna go over 50
Time
years.
jump.
It's
Geo.
It's multiple seasons.
Geo.
It's multiple seasons.
Geo.
Yes.
What, 10 years
I don't
each
doubt
season?
we'll see
that.
One episode a year?
Yeah, why not?
I don't doubt we'll see that eventually in another
2-hour
series.
episodes.
Maybe another series. But the cool thing here is that they ordered it to full season, so it's 10 episodes. They ordered it to a full series. So it's happening, they can't cancel it, they're going with it no matter what.
Give me a Khal Drogo spinoff, man. Just change it.
Oh, we could see
How-
them.
how
We could
he
see
became-
we don't have to see him, but we could see them.
I
The
would.
Dothraki, which is really cool.
Dothraki would
So,
be a dope story because that would be just brutal
Yeah.
and like almost cowboy.
it's a Game of Thrones Western.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're badass.
That'd be cool. I hope it's a little like less characters to focus on though. And I
It's
think
Game of Thrones. I don't think it will be.
I think it because here's the thing: Game of Thrones was broad. This is literally the House of Targaryens. It's gonna focus.
Well, it's
gonna be
called
less
Called
focus
House
on
of Dragons, but I think that it's going to focus on a lot of characters.
Not as many as Game of Thrones. Like at one point, there's a point in the show where they're focusing on like so many characters. I don't think it's gonna get that. to
There's
that
still
level.
people you say their name.
See-
I'm like,
See, I like that aspect because it's so different.
I like it, but I don't want like 30, maybe like 15. You know, it was getting hard to keep track. All right, so
no more than like 10 houses.
yeah, to wrap up our buy or sell segment, we're gonna take a look at some trailers. So there's a new trailer for the new Grudge film. There's a trailer for a movie called Code 8, which stars Stephen Amell and Robbie Amell. There's a the 21 Bridges movie with Chadwick Boseman has a new trailer, and Jumanji: The Next Level has a trailer. Gio, if you're not familiar with this, you buy one of these trailers over the other, meaning you're selling the rest. So what is your choice?
I have to go with Code 8.
Yeah.
I have to go for. I mean, the movie for me it looks like a Blomkamp film, and I'm talking about like early.
Don't say
Blomkamp
that.
film.
That'll make me less biased. Don't say that.
I think
Please
he's
don't say
talking about.
Have you seen District 9?
Please don't say
Have
that.
you
I
seen
think
District
he's
9?
talking more District 9 and his short films and stuff.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because that's how these films come up.
I've
you
gotten
know?
burned.
They're short
Bad.
films online that get traction from fans, and this is very much a fans film. You know,
It literally
gives
is.
Who gives a shit? Like what critics will think of this movie? This movie is straight for the fans, made by the fans, pretty much. And so I'll buy that one. I'm excited. I hope it does something for Stephen Amell and his career on the big screen because I think he has a a place in Hollywood on the big screen.
I think Stephen Amell is one of the most underrated actors, like in general. But he signed on to some.
Once he's done with Arrow, or he is done with Arrow.
He signed on for some major Stars TV show. So he's going to lead some Stars show that's coming up in the next few years. Well, it doesn't mean he can't do movies. I buy Kodak too. The Grudge movie, like whatever. Sure, they're doing another Grudge movie. Comes out in January. Looks like a classic January horror movie. I'm all in for 21 Bridges. I think it looks cool. The trailer was very similar to the first one, though. I think that the Russo brothers being involved, and then you throw in Chadwick Boseman, that's just a lock. Jumanji the Next Level, sure, I guess. I think that we talked about it. The biggest problem I have is that I hope that they're not doing the accents the whole movie. That's going to really bother me. But Kodak looks cool. I'm a sci-fi junkie. Like, that's kind of a hook for me. And you instantly throw something like that where it's actually a really cool storyline. They have superpowers, 4% of the world, and they're outlawed, and all this stuff kind of happens. I'm all in for it. So Kodak for sure.
Brian?
He literally just said everything that I was gonna say. I'm Kodak as well. Literally, nailed it. 21 Bridges, the trailer the new one kind of nicks me with that Avengers line.
Oh, like from the visionary directors of...
No. Oh. There's a line where someone goes like, and then he will avenge the city. And then right after he goes, what is this, a damn superhero movie?
Oh, wow.
That annoyed me. I was like, no, don't, no.
I'm with you on that. I don't remember that, but I'm with you on that.
That's a fun line. It's just a callback. Come on.
I'm buying Jumanji the Next Level.
Jacob.
Yes.
What? Over Grudge? You weirdo with your horror movies?
First of all, Brian, I'm not like some die-hard horror fan. I like horror movies, probably more than anyone on the Apocaflix crew.
Definitely better than anyone.
But I'm no like horror expert, connoisseur, guru. No, I'm not that. I like horror movies though a lot. I do actually like this Grudge trailer. It's very creepy. And
it is. It's very creepy.
What's the name of the lead actor in the movie?
John Cho.
Yeah, I love John Cho. So I'm rooting for him.
The cast is incredible.
I'm rooting for him.
It's got a really good cast.
That was the only thing, I was watching this, I was already out of it within 5 seconds. But then I saw him and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I like him. And then it kept going and I was like,
Did you guys see that movie Searching from...
Yes, it was so good.
That movie's so amazing.
You were the one that told me to watch it.
I love him in that movie. Kodak, I'll always root for Stephen Amell, and I think Robbie Amell's the lead.
Robbie Amell is the lead.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool. And Stephen Amell's like a supporting role, which that's awesome. And it is like a short film that was made into a feature film. It's getting a theatrical release.
It has Sue Kang too from the Fast and Furious movies.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Real quick, the cast for The Grudge, because I just mentioned this cast is incredible. You have Lin Shaye, who is in all the Insidious movies and everything, kind of a horror person. John Cho, Damien Bichir. He was the priest in The Nun. And he's also in kind of some Tarantino movies. Jackie Weaver, who's a well-known name. Andrea Riseborough, who is a well-known name. And Betty Gilpin, who's the lead of Glow on Netflix.
Okay. Who's the detective in the Grudge?
Damien Bichir.
Okay.
The gentleman or the woman?
The woman.
Andrea Riseborough.
Okay.
She was the co-lead with Tom Cruise in Oblivion.
Okay.
His girlfriend or whatever you want to call her in that movie.
Yeah, I didn't recognize her, so I was curious who she was.
It was strange.
The movie was good. I liked it.
But no, Jumanji, because I had fun with the second Jumanji movie. And I'm just glad to go back to this world again. I agree with you. I hope they're not play on the old guy thing too much. If that's the whole entire movie, I might be upset. But it looks like they're switching avatars throughout the movie, because it's funny because the girl is a horse at first.
I think that's going to happen.
Have you seen the poster where they're all standing there and the horse is behind them? That's funny. But I was so surprised by the first one of these movies, and I'm excited to go back to that.
I've said this since the first one came out, since I saw the first trailer. If you slap a movie or a name other than Jumanji on these, I would like them. It's not Jumanji.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's not Jumanji to me, which is why I'm not a fan of them. They have their fun moments, but it's the classic Rock and Kevin Hart comedy, which kind of annoys me now because I've seen so much of it. But it's not Jumanji to me, and maybe I'll be surprised with this one. But I get so much flack from our reactions.
The thing that, after I watched all these trailers, the thing that made me like, yep, I'm choosing Jumanji was actually Karen Gillan, because she's
awesome.
In the first one, she is hilarious in the second Jumanji movie, whatever you want to call it. But she's amazing because she is playing like the awkward girl who goes into this body, and then she's trying to act all flirty and sexy with the guards and everything in the first one. She's hilarious, and I think she deserves to be recognized more, so I'm excited.
She'll be an action star. She's awesome.
Yeah. She sign on to something recently? No. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's rumored that she might lead the Pirates of the Caribbean. That'd be big.
She have the Disney friendly.
So I buy Jumanji.
Oh, man. I don't know. God, they're making another Pirates?
We talked about it last week.
Jesus Christ. Like,
a reboot.
I don't know. See, I don't know.
Starring Karen Gillan?
No. I am for Karen Gillan. I don't know if we asked for a Pirates of the Caribbean reboot after we just got 5.
We don't ask for anything, Gio.
And this is Jumanji movie. Like, I don't know if we asked for it. Like
I don't. $1 billion.
It did make $1 billion.
They made $1 billion.
It made $1 billion the same year that The Last Jedi came out.
It came out on the same day.
Yeah, that's how much it made. So why not do a sequel?
Because of course they're going to do it.
I don't.
It's The Rock's most successful film of all time.
About this, man. Give me Black Adam. Hurry up.
If this one makes $1 billion, if this Jumanji makes $1 billion, they're going to make another one, which is good or bad, but we'll see.
You better make Black Adam before you do Jumanji.
All right, well, to wrap up the show today, we're going to talk about some new releases coming up next week, whether that be
jam-packed.
On the big screen, on the small screen, on the television screen. So we have Marriage Story coming out next week on Netflix. That looks amazing. The Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson.
There's a limited theater release, which I'm hoping it comes to Sacramento. The Tower.
Yeah, because we talked about this. We'd like to watch this in theaters.
Yeah.
We have Dr. Sleep, which Jake already talked about. We have Last Christmas, the Emilia Clarke film. We have Midway. And we have Playing with Fire. Wow, a lot of movies coming out in theaters. And then we have the Shia LaBeouf kind of biopic movie.
Yeah, he wrote it, and it's about his father and his relationship.
Him growing up as a young actor and his relationship with his father.
He plays his father.
He's playing his father, which he looks amazing as his father.
So what's funny is he could end up getting 2 Oscar noms from The Peanut Butter Falcon and this. There's a chance.
Dude, people are saying Honey Boy's amazing.
Yeah.
Which
even maybe a screenplay nod.
Yeah. And he wrote it. Yeah. And there's a bunch of TV shows obviously continuing next week. This is tough for me. I have to go with Dr. Sleep overall. You've
been looking forward to this one.
If I get to watch one, but I'm almost excited for all of these. I'm excited for Last Christmas, to be honest.
If you say you're excited for Playing with Fire, I'm going to slap you.
All right. I said almost excited for all of these. Because I'm not excited for that movie.
Okay.
But I almost chose Last Christmas because Emilia Clarke looks adorable in this movie.
I'm the only one that put it in our monthly thing.
Who's the guy?
Henry Golding.
Yes.
He's playing Snake Eyes.
Golding is awesome.
He's playing Snake Eyes for a G.I. Joe.
Henry Golding for Namor. That's what I'm pushing.
Yeah, and that song "Last Christmas" is my favorite Christmas song. So
you know who it was directed by, right?
Last Christmas?
Yeah.
Who?
Paul Feig.
Oh yeah, I did know that. So, and I love Paul Feig, so I'm super excited for that. But I have to go with Dr. Sleep. It's a sequel to The Shining, starring Ewan McGregor. Sign me up.
I'm not a big horror guy, but I picked the one horror thing on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, shock.
Are you going with Dr. Sleep?
No, I haven't even seen The Shining. I'm going with Last Christmas. I'm going with Last Christmas.
Like romantic, there hasn't. When's the last good
so
romantic
the
comedy?
the cool thing with Last Christmas is that it looks like a paint by the numbers romantic comedy, right? Like it has those moments. It's written by Emma Thompson, who's one of the best actresses working, and she's an incredible writer. She wrote a film earlier this year with Mindy Kaling. She was starred and wrote it with her. Excuse me. And it's blanking off the top of my head. Last night, I believe it is the name of it. And she played a talk show host, and it was incredible. So I'm looking forward to it because of that reason, because she wrote it. But I'm a toss up between Marriage Story and Honey Boy. I don't think we're gonna get Honey Boy here. That seems like a very, very limited release. So I'm gonna go with Marriage Story because there's a chance it'll come here. But I'm really, really looking forward to Honey Boy. Like really looking forward to seeing that movie.
No, it looks.
I want like a Shia LaBeouf binge after seeing him after the Peanut Butter Falcon. Like I want more from him in everything. So
I haven't seen anything about. This is the first I'm hearing of it, so I'm kind of
The trailer is, oh my god.
I'm sure I probably would have picked it up.
It's incredible.
It's kind of trippy, too.
It's a very trippy. It starts off really weird, then it goes in a weird direction, but the scenes are pretty crazy.
It's so crazy because I used to watch, what is it called?
Even Stevens.
Yeah.
That's coming next week on Disney Plus.
Shia LaBeouf, and then like holes and all that stuff.
A week from this.
It's gonna be crazy to see like his perspective of everything he went through. It's gonna be insane. Gio, what are you buying?
So wait, are these just?
So basically, these are all the new
this week.
Yes, upcoming next week.
And
if you could only watch one, if you could only watch one, what would it be?
Probably Dr. Sleep. Sorry, on my mind right now, I forgot to put Mr. Rogers on my November list for...
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood?
God.
November is stacked, man. It's ridiculous.
I had to leave that off my list, and I'm excited for it.
There were 14
Frozen 2
that I had to choose.
Jake and I had Frozen 2 on there.
Yes, sir.
Yo, you did?
Yes,
nice. See, Brian, you need to start posting your list in the chat because I'm curious to see it.
You don't ever post.
We never see your list.
I know, mine's like my secret.
No, we want because I don't know how your list affected the overall list.
It was pretty similar to everyone else's. Well, Keith always throws the list off completely. But I was the only one that had Last Christmas. It was my 5. So,
yeah, dude, there's so many movies coming out. Like, I didn't want to leave Last Christmas off.
You know what's what I didn't throw in here because it technically came out last week, but they're showing now is all the Apple Plus TV shows that came out. The service dropped yesterday. So you have The Sea, you have The Morning Show, you have For All Mankind.
Like,
all of those shows, are available.
I really want to watch the Harry Steinfeld show.
Dickinson.
Yeah, it looks like a trippy, like modern day backwards thing.
I think it's
super. Like she says, "Dude" in the trailer.
I know.
Yeah.
So weird.
I think it's modern day.
She said like I'm on my hustle or something.
Yeah, like she's like it's like the 1900s and she's saying "dude." Like that's so strange.
Yeah, it's
so
kind
weird.
of they.
It's like an alternate universe.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Which they're doing multiple of.
Not
Because
like
For All Mankind is if Russia got the moon landing. So
yeah, so I like that because it's not a straight biopic of Emily Dickinson. You know, they're doing something new with it, so I'm excited, and I love Haley Steinfeld. But yeah, I'm probably gonna go buy Apple Plus, man. I can't afford all these things.
So I gotta finish Jack Ryan, but then as soon as I finish that, I'll buy Apple Plus to watch C. I want to watch C really bad, the Jason Momoa one.
Yeah, did all of those shows come out?
They all dropped.
Really?
All of them. I want to see The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. I'm interested in
there's so many shows on
For All Mankind with Joel Kinnaman.
November, there's
the M. Night Shyamalan one came out too, right? Must have, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Dude, if all of those shows are out right now, I'm gonna be super busy. But you know,
no, you're not. You're in school.
I could do homework and watch TV. Right? But I was watching the Lakers game last night while I wrote my.
Dude, that was a great game.
That was a great.
That was a foul.
Oh, here we go, Celtics fans.
If Luka Doncic didn't get hurt, we would have lost. He was, dude. Luka Doncic is amazing.
Dude, Luka and LeBron go triple doubles.
You would have lost that game if Seth Curry didn't get held.
Yeah, Dwight Howard was holding him.
Hey, F you Celtics and Lakers fans, go Kings.
Don't blame the
We're just ignoring.
Hey, how about those Warriors though?
Hey, the Kings won last night too. That was a great win.
I know it was. Last second, baby. Harrison Barnes for the
same with Celtics.
Harrison Barnes. I saw Jason Tatum goes.
Hey, we all won.
We did our story at the end.
Yeah, we were supposed to storytell in the beginning. We're doing it at the end.
And the 49ers won again. You know.
They did.
Bold predictions are going to win next week too.
That was pretty amazing. Well, on that,
who's your next opponent?
Seahawks.
The Seahawks.
Oh,
this is going to be. This game's going to be.
And they just got Josh Gordon.
I know. He's not. Oh, he is playing next Monday. That'll be his day.
Monday night?
Nah, he's going to be.
Should we have a viewing party? Because guess what comes out that night at midnight?
What?
Disney Plus.
So, yeah, that's going to be a crazy night.
Going out
next week is wild.
It's funny because I'm actually off on Monday.
Oh, you are?
There's no school. It's President's Day. Or it's President's Week. So I'm off of work and school.
This coming Monday.
But the thing is, I work Tuesday morning, so it's going to be a crazy night. Anyways, on that very high note of the 49ers talk,
that was not the high note.
Let's wrap up Apocaflix now. As always,
I cannot wait for you guys to lose a game, and everybody's gonna be like, I hate this team. This team sucks.
I never do that.
Classic Niner fans.
It's going to be a
classic. If you guys aren't from the West Coast or from California, this is what classic Niner fans looks like.
And I remember my reason why I hate Raider fans because they fuel their fandom by hating other franchises. Like all Raiders
Yeah, because we've sucked for the last decade. We've sucked for the last decade.
What? Niners fans don't hate the Raiders. It's,
no,
they don't.
Yes.
No, they don't.
I work with Niners fans at work, and they hate
From my
Raiders.
experience, like,
if it was switched
people
right now,
don't
you'd
hate
be
the
talking
Raiders.
crap.
Like, even when the
Maybe you don't.
Even when the Raiders were good, I was like, good
Maybe
for
you
them
don't.
because
Maybe you don't.
they're a California team. I want them to do well.
When were the Raiders good?
Oh,
2002.
Wrap the show up. Come on, let's go. Wrap the
2002.
show up.
Now
Anyways,
you're
but
low blows.
every Raider fan I know hates the Niners to death. I'm like, why?
Wraps the show up.
Anyways, thank you for watching Apocaflix Now. I am Jacob Barley, Brian Avicino, Gio Ramos. Thank you, Jake Berlin, on the controls, and we got to get our betting board up one of these days.
That's
Yeah, something like that, or else we're gonna forget about the bets, and then we'll recap them. All right, thank you, world, for watching. We will see you all next week. Hey everyone, Jacob Bartley here. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out something similar from Apocaflix Movies, click this video up here. You want something a little bit different? Check out this video down here. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to Apocaflix Movies and let us know your thoughts in the comments section. We always love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.